You've heard of millennials and Gen Z, but have you heard of the sandwich generation? Today we're sitting down with Dr. Kara Kuntz. She's Medical Director of Memory Care and Geriatric Program Development at St. Alphonsus, and she's going to be telling us all about the sandwich generation. So Dr. Kuntz, great to see you.
Hi. Yes,
Hello.
Good to see you too.
Yes. So tell me, what is the sandwich generation?
Yeah, the sandwich generation is essentially those individuals that are caring for their children as well as their aging parents.
Okay, so they're kind of stuck in between.
They're stuck in between, yeah.
All right, and that's a lot of caregiving.
It is, and they're often working part-time or full-time jobs, so they're living their very full, busy life while caring for the younger and the older, and oftentimes really complex ways.
Yeah, really, okay. So that is a lot to do. Right? I can imagine the level of stress is rather heightened in that chapter of life.
Right.
And I imagine too that this is a position that almost all of us are going to see ourselves in, a large majority of the population, especially moms. How do we, first of all, measure our level of stress at that chapter of life?
In our clinic, we measure it with a survey, and we can talk about that too. But you know, the individual in home is usually measuring it by noticing that maybe they're not sleeping as well, that they're becoming more irritable, maybe their substance use is going up. You know, perhaps their blood pressure is going up. They're starting to find themselves not sleeping well and just overall not functioning as well, and oftentimes having disorganized thoughts. And oftentimes we see tears a lot in that conversation, right? Because for the first time somebody's acknowledging how hard their role is and how it's affecting them.
So what can caregivers with higher stress levels, after you've done this assessment, what can they consider for improved long-term health care outcomes?
The first thing we start to focus on is how can we expand their care circle. Something called care mapping, where you can look at who else is available to help. So often, especially you know, these moms that come in and are used to having to do everything themselves and aren't good at maybe asking for help.
Yes.
Right. Are doing everything alone. And they're afraid to ask their siblings to help care for their parent because maybe they live in a different state and they think they're just not available. They're afraid to ask their neighbors for help or their church members, but those are really the people we need to pull into the circle. So we do that mapping where we say, well, who else could possibly be a care partner? We'll get them on telehealth video or a phone call and just kind of lay all the cards out there. You know, what are all the needs of the loved ones we're caring for? Who's going to do that? And basically get people to volunteer in a way that they haven't been before. It's that same old reference in the airplane, right? When you say, you know, first you need to put on your own oxygen mask before you put the oxygen mask on for your child. We're trying to teach caregivers to do the same. You have to care for yourself, to show up as a whole person that's healthy and well enough to be, you know, present and fully there in the way that you want to be for your children and your aging parents. The good news is there are great resources locally. There's a wonderful organization called the Idaho Caregiver Alliance, and they do a beautiful job of getting people together to talk about the needs of caregivers. They're really addressing caregivers across the lifespan. And then there's another wonderful organization in town called Aging Strong by Janice, and they put on a lot of wonderful programs. One is called the Powerful Tools for Caregivers course, which is all about teaching caregivers how to take care of themselves.
Wow.
Interestingly, we need a whole course to learn that, right? Because we're just not good at it.
It makes complete sense. Yes. No, regardless if you are in the sandwich generation right now or not, learning how to self-care is a skill. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kuntz. I could talk to you forever. I know there's so much to unpack here, but we greatly appreciate your time coming in here and helping those in the sandwich generation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.